Right.
This production comes to you in association with the Bluebell Warrington. Situated in an 18th century building in the town centre and just a 5-minute walk from the HJ Stadium, the Bluebell is the perfect destination for pre- and post-game food and drink. The 2024 Warrington Pub of the Year is now the official home of Super League Raw on Warrington Wolves match days for both home and away supporters. Super League Raw are delighted to have agreed a members-only area, allowing our community to come together to discuss rugby league pre- and post-match. So set your course to the Bluebell Warrington on match days and beyond. You are sure to be greeted with a warm welcome and a cold beer. Super League Raw and the Bluebell, the perfect partnership in enhancing your match day experience. Don't get used to this. This isn't happening every week, is all I'm saying. Don't you get used to this. But yeah, clearly there's some red herrings going on out there. So I'll tell you what we'll do. It's probably going to be announced in the next 10 or 15 minutes. Let's have a bit of sport, boys. Let's wait for the official announcement. What a night. What a night. You know, I want to go back to those interviews if I can. Greg, I mean, you know, just quite simply, pinch me moment. Fantastic to have that time with the lads. There's no doubt about that. You get the feeling that both. I felt, and Steph will probably back me up on this. I got the feeling that there was a lot of mutual respect and a lot of real doubt, optimism. There was a real. It just felt as if it's the right two teams in the final.
Yeah.
Both camps know that on the day, it's going to be so tight.
It is. First and second, you're right, mate. First and second, exactly the right two. There is a lot of mutual respect because they met at the same stage last season. And they know what each other has got. And Hull KR now have been there. And like you said in the interview, sometimes you have to lose one to win one.
Yeah.
You know, Warrington have lost 4 and not won one yet, so it doesn't quite count for them. But sometimes you have to lose one to win one. And Hull KR, they will have learned from last year. They, as they said in the interviews, one moment where Mikey Lewis switched off and Bevan French was gone. And that was a turning point. That cost them the game. I think Hull KR will take up. I'd even say Hull KR will take more out of that game last year and that defeat than Wigan have, because Wigan have been there countless times before. You know, they've lost some, they've won some. Hull KR, the first defeat, I think Hull KR will go into that confident that they can do a job this year. And I think that's what came across when he talked to Minchella especially. I thought he was quite confident that they believe they can do the job this year.
Yeah. I mean, Steph, you heard me say to Mikey that, he's probably one of the few players in Super League who has got the ability to do what Bevan did in that grand final last year. He's one of the few to do it, and I think he's got that. Willie's got some big decisions to make, whether Gildart, Broadbent, from an England perspective, with the Ashes around the corner, if Mikey Lewis got a man of the match performance in a grand final, what could that do for England?
It could do a lot. I think more so for Mikey's confidence, isn't it? He's very much a confidence player for me, and we've just been hoodwinked into believing he was a man of steel. Still can't believe he fell for that. That was one of the biggest online bluffs we've made, I think, on this one. But also then we got Jai Field as well, which was great. But no, it's the biggest stages are set for the biggest players, aren't they? And there's no doubt Mikey Lewis is one of the biggest players who can 100% do what Bevan did on that night last year. So it's going to be fascinating to see. And I think now, especially from a neutral point of view, we want to see the best players performing. We want to see Mikey Lewis's absolute best. And if he is at his absolute best, then that's going to be a big threat to the Aussies in the Ashes. So I really hope he does turn up, and I hope it's a great final. I'm sure it will be.
Yeah, absolutely. It should be incredible. Absolutely incredible. Joel, Elliot Minchella, you heard me talk to Elliot about his career, a career that's been up and down. How impressed have you been with Elliot? Because he's a player that's matured incredibly over the last few years to lead Hull KR. It really is it's almost a rags to riches type of story in rugby league, isn't it, Elliot Minchella?
It certainly is, and it shows why I made the comment that I did about his humility, because he knows what it's like to be at the bottom, and now he's starting to know what it's like being at the top. He's a great player, as Elliot always has been. But when a team's playing well, your best players really shine, and he's epitomised that these past couple seasons.
Yeah.
And it's so nice for someone like you say that has gone from the very bottom to be promoted to then becoming the best team in Super League throughout all the rounds to be in the grand final. That has to feel so special. It's a feeling that probably none of us would ever imagine unless we've been in it.
Yeah.
And there's a very seldom amount of people that get chance to be in these finals. So I hope that, yes, they're going to be nervous, they're going to enjoy the day, but I really hope they enjoy the week and the build-up and all the glitz and glamour that comes with it.
Well, what I would say, gentlemen, is, I'd like to say friend of the show. I've interviewed him a couple of times now in terms of Willie Peters. I'm going to try my best to get Willie's acceptance speech, which will be interesting. But before we do that, Greg, this will be one that's close to your heart. Shall we hear from Danny Spetz, who, of course, is the women's coach of the year? Here's what Danny said tonight at the Man of Steel. Here it comes.
This is not all about money. What we can do as a club and as an organisation for the girls is above and beyond money as well. Like, it's about people. Every coach that's been on here tonight has spoken quite freely about understanding that it's the players that are the most important, and what they do at the club is they really support those girls. They give them opportunities to fulfil their dreams, and that's what we're about as well. Hopefully the future of the game is really strong, and I thought you saw on Sunday night a fantastic game between two really good sides. It's fantastic that the girls are here tonight from both teams, and they need rewarding for the fact that how committed and how good a game that they put on for everybody.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with Dennis more. I mean, look, the bottom line is where Dennis Beck, look, one of the greatest second rowers in the history of British game. There's nobody can argue with that, Greg. But the fact that he's, and he's flirted a little bit with, men's coaching as well. But what he has done for the women's game this year, it's put a rocket up its backside, hasn't it? I mean, and he deserves that, and he deserves the credit he's getting for it.
Oh, mate, 100%. What he's turned a team that was almost there now into a team that's there. And I'm sounding like Dennis Betts at this moment in time. Coming out in tribute.
Well, I love that. That's good.
I'm coming out in tribute to Dennis Betts. But you've got to respect the guy. He's a legend of the game. He's a Wigan legend. He's a Great Britain legend. He's an international rugby league player. He stood up to the Aussies toe to toe in his career.
Yeah, absolutely.
Things. Who would have thought Dennis Betts would have been the coach of Wigan Warriors women's team? But he is, and what he's done, he's transformed them. And it's not just him. I know he's praising the players, and it is the players, but he's praising as well. You've got to praise the setup at Wigan, the one club mentality. The facilities that they're given to the women, it is absolutely, you've got to absolutely give 100% respect to Wigan as a club for what they've done at all levels of rugby league in that town. All the girls at Wigan St. Pat's, all the other amateur teams there want to sign for the Wigan Warriors. And, it's an absolutely fantastic job that club and Dennis Betts has done. And they rightly deserve the success. I tipped them for Challenge Cup success. I didn't think they were quite ready to win the grand final. They proved me wrong, but they deserve it. Absolutely deserve it. And they can only build on that from here on in.
Yeah, no.
It's a typical Wigan building dynasty that they've got there.
I love Craig. I mean, Craig Forth there in the chat. I mean, would Dennis Beck be the first in line to replace Matt Peake? Where's Matt going? Where's he going? Where's he going, Craig?
He's lost it. He's lost the challenge. He's lost the edge.
He's lost the edge.
He's had a backward season. Get Betts in.
I tell you what, that's the first time this year I've heard a Wigan fan be almost a Saints fan in terms of what they've done with Wellens. I mean, what, Craig, mate? I mean, earlier on I made a wobble. Right now, it's a shame we can't bring you on screen, Craig, but you're wobbling there, mate. You're proper wobbling there. That ain't a good. It's shocking. Anyway, whilst Craig's getting himself together, let's hear from the coach of the year, Willie Peters. Here he comes.
Yeah, you've got to. I believe someone told me when you start coaching, like the foundations are very similar. When you're coaching 16s or coaching men, and many of the coaches tonight have said that it's about people. Like there's no shadow of a doubt, it's all around people. It's all about having genuine care for your player. And I know every coach in this room would have genuine care and would do anything for their players. For me, when a player walks through the door and they want to talk about their life, something that they're going through, for me, it's a privilege not to hear what they're going through, but be able to help someone. And that's the pleasure of coaching. That starts, for me, that started when I was 16. And I like to think that my door's always open now. Like every coach in this room would be like that. But it's certainly it's about having genuine care for the player, and that's what John was talking about before.
CJ, we are absolutely live, my friend. We are absolutely live. And I have to say, Paul Farrell, our newest member here at Super League Raw. Take a bow, son. Take a bow. Growing up in Wigan and supporting Saints was the pinnacle of a tough upbringing. Bless him. That's absolutely outstanding. That's what we like to see. Well done. Willie Peters there talking about the human touch and all of that, Joel. I mean, look, Joel, I tell you what, I mean, one of the privileges that I've had, in terms of this whole Super League Raw journey that we're on as a collective is I've got to speak to these people. I've got to know Sam Burgess. I'm getting a good relationship with Matty P. Paul Wellens. I've got closer to Paul Wellens than I've ever been as a supporter. Willie Peters, Joe. what an incredible man he appears to be. I've only been in his company a few times, but you could understand why KR have improved so much with Willie Peters at the helm. He is a very, very special coach and a very, very special human being.
You know, you've taken the word that I was thinking of for him in it. That's special. He is a special man. Anyone can teach someone how to play rugby. Anyone can give basic coaching. But what Willie has is he's got an advanced knowledge, of course he has, because he knows, what players he needs for what matches against what matches ups he's got with players. But the biggest thing he's got, more than anything, he's got that personality. And that's one thing I always say is you can show somebody how to do a job, but you can't show someone a personality. You've either got it or you don't. And Willie Peters has that in abundance. He just seems like a guy that you would want to play for. You'd want to be managed by. It's someone where, he says, my door's always open. And he says, so it should be for every coach in this room.
Yeah.
That means more to any player at any point. And I bet, mental health such a massive thing. We all know that. We discussed it a lot on Super League Raw. We're all struggling in lives, aren't we? Rugby players aren't exempt from that. But Willie seems like a guy that would be very open to having them open discussions and really being a good friend to someone. And that's, I think, transcended into how the players have played. We've mentioned it. We said it at the very start of the season that Hull KR's success came from the back of doing right things in the back room. Then it transcends to the front room, the front office, and that's what we're seeing with the playing group. Yeah. And hopefully, long may it continue.
Well, Paul's in the chat. He's actually put his official name, his official team down in the membership as the London Broncos. And if that is true, I think he's our first London Bronco, which is wonderful. Wow. We've got a Ghoul Viking. I know we've got a Ghoul Viking. That could be our first London Bronco. I need to check that. But Paul, if you are a London fan, confirm in the chat if you are, or if you're a Saints one, because it looks like you've been a few Saints games in your life as well. But if you are a London Bronco fan, let us know, because you could be our very first London Bronco fan. And not to be outdone, Carla Collier, I'm looking forward to Carla's company. And again, for those who aren't members, Carla 2 years ago, was bricking it coming to a grand final. Took her right out of her comfort zone. I had to beg and plead. Come on, Carla, you're amongst friends. Do it, Carla. She brought a friend to hold her hand, who I believe is coming to the grand final this week. And now Carla, she's everywhere. She's absolutely everywhere. She's going away ground. She's probably the first. I think she was the second person to buy a grand final ticket. Absolutely loving it. But Carla, not to be outdone by our new member, Paul. She said to Paul tonight, Paul, you should try teaching in a Wigan high school as a Leigh fan. Good on you, Carla. Yeah, I can imagine that is very, very painful indeed. Right, but as we're waiting for the official announcement for who is...
Paul said he is.
Beg your pardon?
Paul said yes to being a London fan, I believe.
Fantastic. Paul, you are the very first London... I think you are. I'll have to check. You might be our very first London Broncos member. Welcome to you. Shall we hear from Harry Robertson? Here comes Harry.
Widnes and Wigan great in Joe Lydon presenting you the award. A moment you're not going to forget.
Yeah, it's massive. I feel pretty lucky to be up here. I know we've got quite a few good youngsters in the league at the moment, so yeah, it's a privilege.
Two things. They're getting younger, they're getting better, and they're getting more confident. There's nobody, Harry, I think, that oozes more confidence, respectful confidence on a field than you. Do you get nervous?
Yeah, I'm pretty nervous right now in front of all these people.
You're doing a pretty good job.
No.
You burst onto the scenes in a derby match against Wigan, and all the word going around was, wait till you see this kid play. He's played at standoff, he's excelled, he's been so good they've had to take him off at times to give the other side a shot. And you walked into a derby game and looked like you belonged. Is that how you felt?
I can't really remember it, to be honest. It was all a bit of a blur. I was that nervous, and it was that loud. I was just in a trance for 80 minutes. I wish I could go back now. I'd try and remember a bit more of it, but yeah.
So there's Harry at the awards dinner tonight. We're still waiting, of course, for the official announcement for the Man of Steel. extra time on a Tuesday. Like I said to you folks, don't get used to this. We're not doing this every week. Unbelievable. Dear God, you get enough as it is. But Steph, I'll come to you on this one. Harry Robertson there speaking to Brian Carney. Bambi on ice, says Roll Stag. You can see where he's coming from.
Yeah, I'd use the word elusive. I think that's what makes him so special. There's not many players who can do what Robertson does on the field. I saw it 2 years ago when he first burst onto the scene. He came, I think it was a league game, and he made an exceptional break, and then he put a kick through for Saints to score a try. I think they won the game, but that was one of the standout moments. He's an exceptional talent. I've said it before, I'll say it again. He will be an England player without a doubt in the next few years. If it's not this year, I think this is probably 1 year too early for him, but he's coming. And he's a talent. He's a real talent, and I just hope we can keep him in Super League because I think the NRL will come calling for Harry.
I think he needs to. I think he needs to develop in terms of his structure, his size before he goes to the NRL. I still think I think Super League at the moment is perfect for him. Perfect for him. Has he got the talent at a young age where he might get to that point? 100%, Steph. Not disagreeing with you at all. But I think for the here and now, I think for his development, he's there. Steph makes a really good point, Greg, in terms of Harry Robertson, quite simply sensational. But we've been blessed this year, blessed with real talent coming through. And this is what we do at Super League Raw. We don't talk for 2 hours about what's wrong with the game. We talk about what's right with the game. And let's be passionate about some of these young lads. Lewis Martin, top try scorer in the year. The other side, Harvey Barron, incredible. Davy Litton, he's no kid anymore. But Davy this year has really stepped up at Hull FC. Denis Balnforth, incredible when he went down to Catalan Dragons. Owen Dagnall at St. Helens, another emerging talent. Noah Stevens, we know he's got it in his locker at St. Helens. George Delaney's still young. Jake Fulis at Warrington, who's come along this year and attributed himself so well in the absence of Matty Ashton. We can't talk OKR because, of course, they haven't got a youth system. Sorry, Robins fans. Got to have you a little bit of fun with you. I know that quite a few of you are going to turn off. Let's go to the Lee Leopards. Again, Bailey Hodgson, he's not that young, but an incredible start for his season. They've got AJ Towles. I mean, Keenan Brand, who's been Love Island. I mean, what's he going on Love Island for when he's got feet like that? Come on.
Exactly.
Get on the wing, son. It makes sense. And I could keep going. I mean, look at the French lads. Aspiro Bichet. There's so much quality, young talent in 2020. I mean, have we seen a season like it, Greg, in the time that we've been doing this show, where so many young, talented players, where, to quote Steph, you see internationals in the future have come through all in one go?
I think you have to go back to the mid-90s for the last time we had such a really good crop of youngsters coming through. The likes of Paul Schoolthorpe, Yeston Harris, players like that. It's exciting. It's exciting for the future. You forget Presley Cassell at Leeds. What a great player he's going to be. Dave, you're absolutely.
Let's not forget Zach Lloyd.
Oh, Zach Lloyd!
Let's not forget Zach Lloyd. I mean, Ewan Irwin. Who's also been good. Yeah, but Zach Lloyd at Leeds.
Mate, he is going to be a phenomenal player if he's given the right development and given the right pathway into the game. It's exciting, and hopefully we get to a time when the number of players coming in from Australia and New Zealand and the South Sea Islanders, because you've got so many good kids coming through and so much talent coming through that, we're able to produce our own homegrown players and bring them through to kind of match the Aussies and take them on at their own game. That is what I'm hoping we're going to get in 5, 6, 7, 8 years.
Do you know what I love about that entire segment that I just did? That rant that I went on, right, is that my good friend, quality friend, that is Mr. Scholes, sat on his hands, buttoned his lip, because he was like, "Where's George? Where's George, Dave? Where's George? Come on, Joel." Not only all the players that I just spoke about, but Mr. Flanagan as well. Let's not forget our George, who has been quite incredible. Actually, I believe George has actually been tailored for tonight's award ceremony, courtesy of a very famous tailor in Huddersfield, and who have made sure that they're probably one of their greatest sons in waiting in George Flanagan went to the Man of Steel dinner in the finest millinery, sir.
Most certainly has done, yeah. In fact, there's quite a lot of good tailors in and around Huddersfield. All other options are available, of course.
I didn't realise I thought Dennis Taylor was Irish.
Dennis Taylor?
He said there's a lot of good tailors in Huddersfield. I thought Dennis Taylor was Irish, mate.
Well, there is that one as well.
What's
yeah.
the impression of Dennis Taylor? No, they're too round, Steph. They need to be square, mate. They need to be square.
We need to go upside down as well.
Good man. I hope you enjoyed extra time.
In fact,
but go on, Joe. Go on, man.
I'm going to say George did look pretty suave in his fit, didn't he? To be fair,
I thought
he did look pretty good.
Auditioning for James Bond, mate. If I was being perfectly honest with you.
But, well, yeah, there's time. There's time.
Right. All right. So we've got right, Joel. I'm gonna pitch this one to you because I'm very mindful of the fact I'm cutting you off mid-flow on George. But let's just take it as read. George's quality. The biggest challenge that Huddersfield have got in 2026 isn't their league position; it's keeping hold of George Flanagan. But we'll save that for the winter months. Craig Forth's asked us a question. Well done, Craig. Which signing announced for 2026 is the most exciting thus far? That's a great question. That from Craig. Joel, do you want to kick that one off?
Are we talking in the whole league or a particular club, Craig? What do you want? The whole league?
He's probably saying the whole league. I would have thought.
Right. Okay. That's quite difficult because there's quite a lot of good signings in 26. I think Warrington Hapuate coming over is going to be interesting. Big unit for where he is. I know Greg's not too sure, but whether he's playing on one knee or not, he's still a great player. So that'll be interesting to see how he goes on. Well, the one that signed for you, Steph, I don't know him myself personally, but definitely looking forward to seeing him playing, and that's just down to the fact how good Lee have been at getting these unknown quantities, just how well they have played. Has been pretty good. Interesting to see how Lewis Dodd's going to go on at Catalan. I know there are some players coming through, some signings to be made. So I'm holding my judgment for them coming through because the ones that I know about, that's the ones I'm most excited about. But I can't say that yet because that would be unfair to the clubs. But yeah, there is some really good signings coming up that'll be announced within the next, hopefully, few weeks.
John Wilkinson, mate, can you just clarify that question just so I'm clear on the question that you're asking? Just clarify that question. I will come back to it. I'm going to load Steph's gun here. I'm going to load Steph's gun because this will surprise many people. And I know there's a few Leifers who have questioned this one as well. But I'll tell you now, and I mean this in all sincerity, Steph, if the rumours are true and in his senior he's on his way to the Lee Leopards, that could be an exceptional signing.
It could. We've said it before. It's not been announced. We don't even know if that's going to be happen. It's not official.
It's rumours, isn't it? It's rumours. But if the rumours true, that could be a massive signing, mate.
But we've said on here and privately, we'd love to see in a top 6 side, and Lee are a top 3 side now. Yeah. What the scary thing for me would be to see Lachlan Lamond and his senior combine. I think it could be a phenomenal signing for Lee if they do make that signing. I think he's got so much. He's got injuries, which he needs to. He needs at least a full season. But yeah, it could be. We talk about minutiae differences between Lee and Wigan in that game, that semi-final. In his senior, could be that difference for Lee. But for me, the ones that have been announced so far, the one I'm most intrigued to see how he goes is Tyson Smoother, because that to me is a phenomenal signing. Played in the NRL Grand Final. We've just witnessed it for Brisbane Grand Final winner. He didn't have a massive part to play in the Grand Final, but we're talking NRL Grand Finals. in Super League, he should be exceptional. So, of the ones that's been announced so far, as a young lad as well, to get him at the age that he is, that's the one I'm at the moment most excited to see.
Fair play, Greg.
I agree with Steph. Tyson Smoothie is a name that is going to be I think is going to be a great signing. Law for Warrington. Law for Sipley for Warrington is going to be.
Yeah, it could be good. Yeah.
I know I'm quite biased, but he's a big unit. It's probably a prop we've needed. For me, I'm going to go a bit left field, and I'm into women's rugby league. The Catalan Dragons women's team have signed Tyra Wateri from the New Zealand Warriors. Now that for me is a great signing and could, be an absolutely fantastic move for Catalan Dragons women's team going forward over the next 2 years. So, me being a bit left field there, but I think Smoothie, I think Law for Foa, and I think that signing for the Catalan Dragons women's is an absolute shot in the arm for French women's rugby.
Fair play. I'm going to keep going into the chat whilst we're waiting for this big announcement to take place. Ian Morrison saying Tom Amon to KR. He needs to be better than he played for Castleford. But if it's the Tom Amon of the League Leopards, it's a massive signing for KR. But he needs to be better than he was for the Castleford Tigers. Still waiting for Jono to come back with that clarity that I need. Right, okay, where are we going to go next? Let's go with Rebecca. I do like a bit of Rebecca Frey. What was the best game that we've attended and the best memory of that game? That's a great question. That is a great question. There's so many great games. There's so many great games in the history of rugby league. You could talk about the JD Great Britain game against Australia, which was iconic. Absolutely unbelievable game of rugby league. That was when Wigan went down under and got the World Club Championship again. An iconic game. I'd go as far as that. But like Greg, guilty pleasure. And it weren't really a game of real significance, but I do remember the Joel Monaghan last second try against Widnes, and that was just unbelievable. The JD try against Halifax as well. There's just so many. But you know what? In the modern era, probably in the last 5 years, I'm going to go the Sam Tompkins try against St. Helens. That was absolutely unbelievable. Just completely. You've got to remember where Saints were at that point in their history, and Tompkins rolled back the years that night, just rolled them back, and the way that he did the reverse cycle, just everything about it. It was just like it was theatre, wasn't it? And do you know what? I'm going to stay on the St. Helens theme because it's just popped into my head. The Catalan Dragons come back at Magic. That was just bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. So it's very difficult to go one game, Rebecca. It really, really is. I've thrown a few out there. Steph, over to you. Where are you going to go with that one?
Well, I'm gonna take two because that's my privilege on this panel. So obviously, from a personal perspective, Lachlan Lamb's drop goal in 2023 to win the Challenge Cup for Lee, which they hadn't done. That whole game was just phenomenal in terms, and I think most people agree one of the greatest Challenge Cup finals we've ever witnessed.
Oh, yeah.
But from a non-league perspective, I was actually there for the Y to S try. I've never seen a ground erupt like that. Me and Vicky my wife, were very young into our dating when we watched that game together. We used to go to Saints on a Friday night because we love watching rugby league. We went to that game, and what a finish to a rugby league game! And I know we've witnessed a few of those, but that was the original, and that was a phenomenal. As a neutral, just to be at that game and witness what happened that night was outstanding. So they're my two.
Fair play, mate. Fair play. Before we go to Joel, Adi Simpson, Simo, who makes the 14 teams and does Huddersfield remain or not? My response to that, Simo, would be they've got a better chance than Castleford. I'll just leave that one there. Joel, over to you. The best game you've attended or the best in your memory, mate? What were you going to go with?
Yeah, I'm going to briefly mention two, but I've got one in particular. So this is more of a selfish one. and it was more about the company that I was in. This year, being at the Challenge Cup final, to be able to bring my dad down to Wembley and meet everyone, it was a special moment. You know, forget the game. It was just really nice to be able to spend the weekend with my dad and bringing around people that I love and you know, he's just a very special person to me, and I know he's watching. So, you know, I enjoyed
Mr.
that.
Scholes, Senior Scholes, the head of the table, no less, Mr. Scholes. It was our honour. And the fact that he stayed in the same gaff as us, mate, it was an honour. And I have to say, the love and the bond between you both was something that me and my family will remember for a very, very long time. Outstanding, mate. Outstanding. It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
It was an absolute pleasure to be in your company, Chief. It really was. Greg, same question. Best game you've attended, best memory you've got in the game, mate?
Wow, that's a really tough question because I'm a man of a certain vintage and I've seen quite a few games.
Speaking of vintage, sir, 2019.
A very good vintage.
Very best.
2019. Speaking of 2019, Challenge Cup final, Warrington Saints. Nobody expected us to win. That, for me, was superb. But you know what? The best atmosphere at a game I've ever experienced was when we beat Wigan 40-4 at the Brick Stadium last season. The atmosphere was like being at a concert. It bounced from start to finish. For me, a very, very young memory for me. When Warrington beat Australia in 1978 at Wilderspool. And
Greg, just to let you know, what month was that?
October.
Was it? I was basically I was 4 months old, mate. Carry on.
I wasn't much older myself. My dad tells me I enjoyed it.
Joe was a little spot in his dad's eye. Go on, carry on.
And on that note, I'll bid you farewell and get back into Last Chance Saloon. But no, a fantastic. We played the Australians. The Australians were the all-conquering Australians. Only one other team beat them on that tour. And I think, if memory serves me right, it was Widnes. But it was a great night. One of the first games of rugby I'd been to as a young kid. And I wasn't 45 in 1978. I was 53. Aidan. All right. You weren't even born. Get over it and move on. But absolutely, to see the green and gold of Australia for the first time, these legends of the game, and for Warrington to beat them as one of the first ever games I'd ever been to and that was when I was hooked on this great game of Rugby League. It was magnificent. There are too many games to mention. When Catalan came back, and I can't remember what year it was, to beat Saints at home when they were dead and buried, and they scored a try in the last minute and won it with a conversion from the touchline. I can't remember what year it was as a neutral.
Yeah. That was Saints.
It was at Saints, yeah.
I remember that. Yeah. That was a good game.
And I can't remember what year that was. It's quite a long time ago.
We hadn't been in our house long, so that I would say that was anywhere between 2011 and 2015.
Could well be. That game at Magic where Catalan came back.
Yeah,
in fact, it sounds like I'm saying any game where Wigan or Saints got beat, but it's not true.
It is, because they're the most memorable.
Yeah, we are for Warrington fans. The great games. Another one at Wilderspool where Warrington had no chance of beating Wigan. It was a Good Friday, and we absolutely mullered them at home. And we'd lost the first 4 of the season. Paul Cullen's first game in charge as a joint coach, and I think it was with Alex Murphy in 96, 97, something like that. And that night we all went out into town and we celebrated with the players. So that probably is one of my fondest memories of actually celebrating with the players who beat Wigan that day when they weren't expected to.
All I'm going to say to you is 2 words: 3 feathers in Warrington.
Yeah, the feathers.
The feathers.
A great night, a great day.
It was a great night. It was fantastic with the players. Well
Too
done,
many to mention, but
Rebecca, what a question. Rebecca, good evening to you. Looking forward to your company on Saturday. You go well. CJ! I'm not being funny. When I hear the word CJ, I think of Pamela Anderson in a red swimsuit. Is that
Stop
wrong?
it.
It's wrong, isn't it? It's wrong, but that's what I think of. That's what I think of. But anyway, it can't be that CJ, can it? But we can.
I hope it is.
Well, yeah.
To the grand final, CJ.
Yeah, CJ, if you want to come to as long as you're wearing the bikini and it's not a mankini. As long as you're not a mankini, that's fine. But anyway,
To be fair, she's probably the same age as Reggie, 80.
probably. Look, it's after hours. We can go there. Does anyone else feel like this year's grand final feels like a much bigger game than last season? I'm going to go. Like I say, I don't get to go much on week. It's extra time, so I'm going to do it. Do you know what? Yeah, it does. I think last year there was optimism around KR. Optimism that's the word I would use. But I think everybody who went into the stadium that day probably expected a Wigan win. That's my gut feel. This year, all bets are off. You know, if KR can replicate their early season form, and Wigan, as we know, are currently in form, we are in for potentially one of the greatest grand finals ever. Because what we've got here are two sides that are very, very close, very, very even in terms of their quality. They've both got game breakers. They've both got good packs. I mean, this for me has just got and you know what? Wouldn't it be befitting of what has been a tremendous 2025 if these players that take the field on Saturday can give us a grand final for the ages? Because I think if they do, the 2025 Rugby League, and this is before the Ashes, but the 2025 Rugby League season has given us fans so much. The women's game, incredible. The way that ended at the weekend was phenomenal. The championship this year has been so competitive. It's been a pleasure to see how competitive the championship has been. The NRLW has delivered. The playoff series it's a different level. But again, even NRL seasons can limp out. This year it is delivered. Absolutely delivered. Our own playoff series has delivered. It's delivered. There's been some brilliant games this year in our, upsets and all of it. I mean, the Saints try against Leeds. We saw a great game at the Brick this weekend. It's just been a phenomenal 2025 season. It really, really has. So for me, yeah, it feels bigger. I think it is bigger. I think both players believe it's bigger. I think both coaches believe it's bigger. And, please God, let Rugby League be the winner. Let this weekend be the triumphant close to the regular season that we all deserve. And, on behalf of the entire community, on behalf of myself, the Gladiators, and those people who said that, I didn't say this in the main show, but I'm going to say it now. I put out there on our social media feeds, and I actually mentioned it today to some of the hierarchy in the Rugby Football League, that is the way to see quality professionals down the road. The way the NRL do it is the way we should do it. It's the way we should do it. And, the comment came out, well, players go away. Not if they know that they're going to be given a swan song at the grand final. They won't go away. They'll delay it a week. So that's a nonsense. And I said, look, we should be giving these players. And then I hear on every player's a legend in the UK. I hear on another podcast that was said, and I'm sorry, but I'm going to call it out because you did say it. So if you're listening to it and you want to get upset about it, good luck to you. But you did say it on your podcast that every player's a legend over here. Well, let me tell you now, you put on a pair of boots, son, you put on a shirt, you put on some shorts, and you go and run. You go and do what these lads do. Because they might not be legends in terms of the pinnacle of our sport. Andrew Johns, Darren Locklear, James Graham, Adrian Morley, to mention some of ours. They might not be at that stratosphere. But any player that goes on the field of play in, whether it be British Rugby League, at any level, championship, whatever, any player that dons the boots and goes out and plays the most brutal sport in the world that is played by gentlemen, for our entertainment as fans, deserve the send-off that they get in the NRL. That's what it's about. It's about showing respect. Because it's very easy for us, and let's be fair, we get it right. I'm going to pat us and our community on the back. We get it right. We show respect to these players. The absolute utmost respect. Because who in the right mind would be a rugby league player? Who in the right mind? What they put their bodies through for our entertainment. But they do. because they love the sport at a completely different level that we do. Because not only do they love the sport, they go out and do what they do. So I'm sorry, our players deserve the highest accolades, the highest, not what's happened tonight, which is a video on a screen at a Man of Steel. Let us, the fans, show these players the love and respect, regardless of the jersey that they wore. Let us give them the round of applause that they deserve on the biggest stage of them all, which is the grand final. Because I'm telling you now, if we do a straw poll of rugby league fans, they would demand that the British Rugby League and Super League put these players on a stage with the flamethrowers before a grand final, so each and every one of us can show our love and respect for what they have done to bring joy and happiness into our lives. So I'm sorry if you don't like it. I am calling you out. That's why it's important. That's why they are legends. And I do not apologize for the rant that I have just gone on. But anyway, there is another question. Why is this final a different final to last year, Mr. Sale?
Well, I think the main thing, Wigan. They're experienced. They've been to many finals before, etc., etc. I think the difference with this one is KR will have learned from last year. It's we were there today, Dave. It's a massive stadium. One thing KR are doing though is building up big stadiums. 2023 Wembley lost very narrowly. 2025 Wembley won it. Last year, obviously, very unlucky. It was a Bevan Front Magic that won that game for Wigan. So they're building that experience of the biggest occasions that we can produce at the moment in British Rugby League. I got the sense from them today there was a calm. Yeah, I don't know if you noticed that, Dave, from Minchella, from Peters, from Mikey Lewis, from Dean Handley. I think they were all just calm. It was normal. I'd have liked to have been there last year for those interviews because I don't think they'd have been as calm, and that's what gives me a bit of confidence to say they can go the next level. Wigan, we know are going to turn up. They'll be professional. They've been there so many times. They know what they're doing. I think this could be one of the greatest, and that's building up massively. But I truly believe that. I think we've got two teams that are totally matched and can deliver, but they've both got to do that. But I think there's an opportunity to have the greatest grand final we've ever had this Saturday.
Do you know what, mate? If this was a church, I'd be at the altar, I'd be lighting candles, and I hope you're right. Because I'll tell you what, this season deserves it, mate. It really does. Joel, over to you, man.
You've got the two most dominant teams playing in what, as you said, is the grandest stage of them all. It's the best game of the year. It's the one that we all look forward to. It's the one we all want our teams to be at. There's not many teams that have been able to even be in a final, let alone win one. And Wigan have done it many times, St Helens have done it many times, Leeds have done it many times, Bradford's done it many times. But this is the reason why this is going to potentially be one of, if not the greatest, because the cusp of a new era. If KR can win it and win all three this season, whether there is a World Club Challenge for next year or not, if there is, fantastic. Can they do the four? Wow, can you imagine how crazy that would be? But if Hull KR can find the form that they had at the first 3 quarters of the season, then we're in for something really special, because all the ingredients are there. It just needs to be put together, and that will only happen if the performances are there on the field. And I don't think we've got any doubt that will be the case.
Mate,
we've got
what a day.
The only one thing that we could do with doing. There's one thing that we could do with doing, and we go back to that NRL Grand Final. At the end, all the retiring players had their centre stage. And it was very much like watching something that you see on the Super Bowl or in the NBA, something huge. If we can start emulating them kind of things, with them putting these players up on the bit more of a pedestal of where they need to be, because like you said, they are the hardest, most fierce gladiators in the world, and they deserve every bit of accolade and accommodation that they get, because they don't get enough of it. They don't, and that's the way to grow the sport. But this is going to be a wonderful weekend, and I'm really looking forward to spending time with every single one of you. It's going to be absolutely
well. Me and
wonderful.
Mr. Nixon have been doing this for many years, and I have to say, Greg, it's circled on the calendar every year that I get to spend a day with me old mucker. We've enjoyed some great times at the grand final, especially when you can read a 24-hour clock. But we won't go there. We won't go there. Me and Greg know what we're talking about. But, Greg, but mate, I mean, look, I didn't, you know. With regards to this particular grand final, I didn't ask Matt Pete this, so I'm going to ask you. I did intend to ask Matt, but I go with the flow when I interview people. But I did have this question in the back of the mind, so I'm going to ask it to you. Based on what you've seen this year, I mean, by all means, answer the question on the screen as well once you've answered this. But the question I want to pose to you is this, okay? Based on the improvements we've seen, Leeds, Lee, you'd hope Warrington are going to get better next year. You'd hope Saints are going to get better next year. You'd hope that Wakefield will build next year. Have the days of a 4-time champion in Saints and a potential 3 this weekend, Wigan, are those days hopefully behind us, where actually there's going to be more jeopardy in Super League?
I would like to think so. You know, it's kind of a sad indictment, really, that since a grand final was introduced, despite the fact that a number of teams have finished top of the league, there's only ever been 4 winners. And I think sometimes that can be quite detrimental to the sport. You know, even in like, we don't like to talk about Wendy Ball, but we've had dominant teams, but we've had other teams come through, like your Leicesters, who've surprised everyone. I think we need that moment in rugby league now. I think it's crying out for, as you say, Dave, it's crying out for a new name on the trophy. And I think this is the best chance we have this year. I think, answering the question, it is more exciting because it's the same 2 teams as last year. What I didn't want, and this is no disrespect to our St. Helens friends, I didn't want a St. Helens Wigan final.
I agree.
Because who do the neutrals support? You know, we need a team. We need a different team to the Wiggins, the Saints, the Leeds. And this is no disrespect to those teams. I'm talking as a neutral. That we need, you know, neutral fans need somebody to get behind. And I think it's fair to say, apart from Hull FC and Wigan fans, the majority of rugby league fans will be backing Hull KR in this final. And we need that. We need an underdog. If we can call Hull KR underdogs, because they finished top of the league, they've been the best team overall all season. But with Wigan's pedigree, I think that's why this is probably more exciting than last year, because it's the same 2 teams and there's a narrative, there's a soap opera around it. But going back to your point again about saying farewell in a proper way to the retiring players and the players who are leaving the competition, I also think what the grand final does really, really well is players from the community teams that those grand final megastars played for, those Broncos, whoever, they get their representatives of their local, of the club they grew up playing for, hand them their medal, their ring before as they go on the stage. And I think that is magnificent. That is a lovely touch.
Well, can I give Wigan Warriors a lot of credit? Because to my knowledge, Wigan are the only team that when they announced their starting 17, actually mentioned the side that they play for.
Yes. Yeah.
Which I've got to give Wigan a lot of credit for.
And we need to do that now. That should be part and parcel of every game going forward. That when you announce your team, it's all very well announcing your sponsors, but announce the team that they played for when they were growing up.
Just for our CJ, who said that, you know, there's a question put in there: who does the panel support? And there's only one answer. It's Warrington. Actually, Lee and Huddersfield. But Who knew that about Wigan Warriors outside of Wigan Warriors? That's what makes Super League Raw different. We're into the detail. We cover all teams. We're the most neutral that you'll find. I don't care what anybody says. Wheels of Steel, Joe Coyd. Well done to you. Congratulations. That's just been announced. Many congratulations to Joe. Right, Johnny Wilco, who's going to be with us at the weekend. Looking forward to Jono, and of course his entire Ellen and the kids. Oh yeah,
The clan.
Oh,
the clan.
The Wilco clan. Incredible. Looking forward to their company. He's clarified, before Super League began, which player or players would you have liked to have seen at your club in Super League? Now, I'm going to put a caveat on this because we could go back to Billy Boston and all the rest, couldn't we? So I'm going to say in our lifetime, that we saw play, if Johnny will permit me. So in our lifetime, before Super League, so in my case, Greg, just to clarify, 1978.
Hey, Greg, the world's your oyster, pal. The world's your oyster.
Yeah, Brian Bevan was playing when Greg was about.
I was at the meeting in 1895 when this happened.
I won't be offended if you don't pick my granddad. I won't be offended.
Yeah, but go on. Look, that's been thrown at you. It's been thrown. Who wants to go first? Of all the players that you've seen in your lifetime outside of the Super League, go on, Dad. Outside of the Super League era, who would you pick?
David Lyon.
No, but he was in Super League, wasn't he?
Oh, outside of Super League.
96, yeah. So outside of 96, mate. A tough question. That's a tough question.
Can I have Paul Newlove?
He transitioned, I suppose. He transitioned.
I don't think he was Super League, was he?
Yeah, he was. He was there in 96, yeah.
Was he?
Yeah.
Cool.
Tough question, isn't it? You saw you put your hand up now, aren't you?
No. Ellery Hanley.
He was. Oh yeah, no. Actually, in fact, actually, that he played the last season of the before Super League. So that's a great show. That's a great show. To be fair, guess who I'm going?
Go on.
I don't know yet. I've not decided. Joel, over to you.
It's not good that only me's thinking about it.
So this shows the difference because I started watching rugby in '96.
Right.
So I'm not allowed to answer that question. I know players that I've seen highlights of, and I've seen players that have gone from, and just that'd be unfair of me to answer.
It's like having a politician on the panel.
Clive Sullivan.
Yeah, I say.
Roger Millward.
Did you see them play in your lifetime?
I don't know.
No. No. Do you know what? That's a really
80s.
really good.
Yeah, it's got to be. Ellery Allen's got to be for me.
Yeah, Hanley's a good shout. Greg, who'd you go?
I've just jotted down 5 names.
Go on
then. Phil Blake, what a player!
Great player.
Phil Blake.
Actually, thinking about it, the statue outside the league, I can't believe he's not gone there. Go on, carry on.
John Woods.
Yeah, Woodsy, yeah.
Phil Blake, imagine.
Steph's filthy. Steph is absolutely filthy. You look on his face then. He's
Drummond.
No.
Oh, Des Drummond was.
That was comedy gold. People replay that. When we mentioned John Woods, then Steph's face was filthy. Anyway. Steph, get in that corner. Over there. Go in the corner.
I did see the best of John Woods as well.
No, but to be fair, he played for your side. So it doesn't count. Go on.
Phil Blake.
Yeah.
Imagine Bevan French with skill. That's Phil Blake.
Oh, that's a big call, Rich.
That's a massive call. That.
No, with skill.
Carry on.
I was joking. You know, Phil Blake was superb. Les Boyd, my God, what?
No, he played for your team. He played for your team, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go on, carry on.
All right.
Yeah.
Mark Roberts played for Warrington. Mark Roberts is the greatest second row I have ever seen play the game.
There's a theme here. Go on, carry on.
So Warrington.
Oh, Warrington.
Yes, but the one player I would love to have seen in Super League, Kurt Sorensen. The Widnes prop. My word. what an impact he would have made in Super League. He would have been an absolute superstar.
Did Martin the Fire play Super League?
I think he did for Broncos, London Broncos.
Yeah, I think he probably sneaked in with the Broncos.
Yeah, for London. He played a few games at London.
Yeah. But no, Kurt Sorensen, he was the player that most teams playing against Widnes feared the most. You know, he was an absolute awesome monster of a player, Kurt Sorensen. I'd love to have seen him in Super League.
Well, I'd say, going back to CJ, it's my turn here because Joel sat on the fence with splinters. I'll tell you what, I'm going to go to Wigan because, of course, my childhood was dominated by Wigan in the 80s. And if there was 2 players that didn't play Super League from the Wigan era, I mean, God, there's so many good players there's so many good players. I mean, Sean Edwards didn't play Super League, did he?
Yeah.
He didn't. Sean didn't. No.
He's sure?
Yeah, positive, yeah. So, Sean Edwards, straight away, you go Sean Edwards. I'll tell you, Dean Bell. What a player Dean Bell was.
Yeah, Andy Goodway.
But I'll tell you the player, and again, we've spoken about players this season in all the time that we've done this show that have made a massive impact on a team, their ability to win. Kevin Sinfield's a great case in point. The reason why Kevin Sinfield was such a linchpin to Leeds' dominance in Super League at that era, it was Kevin Sinfield. And in the 80s, it was Frano Botica. Frano Botica at Wigan. I mean, if ever there was a guarantee of 6 points after a try, it was Frano Botica. I have to say, there's been very, very few goal kickers in my lifetime like Frano Botica. Kev Sinfield runs in close, but Frano Botica was just unbelievable for the Wigan Warriors. So all of those players aforementioned have got different skills. All of them have. And hopefully CJ's starting to realise that this is a podcast of depth and knowledge. But yeah, genuinely, those are the players that.
Greg Forth puts a good shout in. Andy Gregory.
Oh yeah, I mean Andy Gregg was. What's not to like about Andy Gregg? I tell you what though, it's like if you like a bit of biff, Andy Platt, Kelvin Skerritt, great prop forwards. Kelvin Skerritt, mate. I mean,
Can't speak.
Proper grubby like, but Kelvin Skerritt. I mean, you knew
Lee Crooks.
Incredible.
Lee Crooks.
Eva Hunter's won Woman of Steel.
Oh, sure?
That's official from Super League.
Sure?
Has it?
Yes.
Has it? Eva Hunter has won the Woman of Steel, and that is absolutely deserved. That is absolutely deserved. I'm delighted about that. We talked about it in the main show. I'm delighted that Ava's got that award. Greg, as the Nixon reporter, that is a great show. All too often the flair players get the awards. Isn't it a wonderful thing that Hunter has picked up the Woman of Steel?
And it's totally 100% the right decision as far as I'm concerned. She's been consistent all season, leading try scorer for the Warriors. Anybody who hasn't, if the only game people have watched this season is that grand final, you'll see in that game why she's the Woman of Steel. She's absolutely immense, strong, powerful, fast, good hands, all round great player, and absolutely so well deserved. I'm really chuffed for her. Really,
I'm going to call it out. I don't think David's David. I'm going to call it out. I don't know. By all accounts, David lives in Scotland, and I don't think David's David. Remember, talking out of Craig, saying, remember only a 2-man team. I don't think David's David. I don't think
I'd be interested to learn where in Scotland he's from, because I've got a few friends in Scotland.
I would love to know where in Scotland, and also, interesting. Just interesting.
According to Neil, Sean Edwards played for London and Bradford in Super League. I thought he played Super League, Sean Edwards.
Fair play.
I thought he played Super League.
Close. It must have been early.
I thought he did, because I've seen him play.
Yeah,
it must have been very, very early on. But yeah, our David, bless him, in the chat. Anyway, we'll just leave that in the ether. We'll just see if that develops. I'm sure it will. But yeah, all good fun. Well, it's been great. I mean, look, we're not going to do this every week, but it is a special night. It's Man of Steel night. That's why we're doing it. And it is another thing, for those people who are not members who are watching, you don't see 40-20 doing this. You don't see, I'm going to call them out. Where's League Express this evening? Where are they? Here we are doing the hard yardage, giving you some entertainment, waiting for the big announcement. We'll have a chat about it. We're having a great debate. We're getting involved in the chat. We're actually talking to the people in the chat and actually respecting their opinions and giving them a bit of a platform. It's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing. Anyway, everybody's legends. Anyway, we'll move on. Where are we? Well, we've got another question. Paul Farrell, got to drop, but a huge thank you. Paul, great to have you on board, mate. Absolutely outstanding. Somebody actually mentioned in the chat about one of their favourite moments, the Andrew Johns game at Warrington. Get that. A player of that ilk and quality. Good to see Andrew Johns is on a speaking tour as well. I've seen Andrew Johns in person as you have, Greg. Great night that back in our youth. If you've never seen Andrew Johns on a speaking tour, I'd recommend you go and watch that. That will be absolutely outstanding. I'm losing the feed here. I'm waiting for
the rumors coming through that it's Jake Connor, but it's not.
Yeah, we've been there though. We've been there tonight.
We've been there. We're not yet. We've been there. We're still waiting for Ava Hunter's acceptance speech, so we could be a while off that. Has anybody seen another? Have we seen another question in the chat?
I saw one earlier.
Rebecca asked a good one.
Go on. Which one? Read it.
Which one? Who?
Well, Dave's now saying, why is the announcement taking so long? He needs his sleep. Go to sleep, Dave. Dave, go to sleep. Just go on the social media in the morning and find out who won.
I must admit, this is like waiting for a Jack Smith video ref decision. This.
It is.
Rebecca asked a good question.
Well, hang on.
About 5-10 minutes ago.
Oh yeah, is this the top three? This one? Have I found it? Is that the one?
Oh,
good old Rebecca. You can always rely on Rebecca when we're into the deep grass. There she is. Question. Well done, Rebecca. Who's your top three players you would rate in Super League, including past players? Well, I'll tell you what, to keep it current, should we, if you permit us, we can't really do it because we probably mentioned the Men of Steel, won't we? So I'll tell you what, let's go the last 4 seasons. In the last 4 seasons, who would your top 3 players be? Well, we're down to 2 straight away because we're all picking Bevan French, so that can be done. That can be done.
That's taking away all the ones that would have chosen.
Who'd be the other 2?
Mikey Lewis.
You think Lewis is in?
Yeah.
Over the last 4.
Over the past 4.
Can I throw one in there?
I put a caveat in just to make it interesting stuff.
Oh, right.
That's 4. So we'd all say Bevan French. That's a given. Go on, Joel.
Chris McQueen.
Ooh.
He's not played the last 2.
He said the last 4 years.
He said in the last 4.
No, he's not played the last 2. He's got to have played the whole 4. Come on, Joel.
Oh, you didn't say that. Right. You did not say that.
Let me clarify. They've got to have played the last 4. Come on, mate. Wow.
Right. Okay. Well, that makes sense.
I'll go. Bevan French, Mikey Lewis, Herman SASA.
I played the last 4. Herman.
Oh, you've got to have played all 4 seasons.
All 4.
You've just ruled out all League players then.
Sorry, mate.
Thanks for that.
It's all right.
No, wait.
I'll tell you what. I'm going to throw a name in. I'm going to throw it. Here it comes. It's coming. Gone Bevan French. Let's mix it up a little bit.
You like Clint Baptiste?
I'm going to go Alex Walmsley.
Yeah.
I think
that's good. Yeah, it's a good show.
I'm going to go for. I'm going to go Bevan French, Alex Walmsley. Is what I'm going to
Wellsby.
go.
I'm going to go for a wee while we're waiting.
You're going to go for a Lee? No, there's no Lee players.
A wee.
Oh, a Lee. Oh, wee. Sorry, mate. So we've got Walmsley. I'm going to go Walmsley. I'm going to go Bevan French. I think I'm going to go Liam Farrell. That's a shout, that, mate.
Good shout.
It's a good shout, that.
Good
That's
shout.
a good shout. I'm not arguing with that. That's a good shout. I tell you what, Callum Watkins would be in the chat and all for consistency. Callum Watkins would be in the shout. He'd be a shout in terms of consistency. No doubt about that whatsoever. You know, and do you know what? Joe,
Matty Ashton,
100%.
Ryan Hall.
Yeah.
Ryan Hall.
You know, there's so many good. I mean, look. I mean, Leroy Cudjoe.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and people might scoff at that, but Leroy Cudjoe, what a pro! You know, he's a player of the year last year, not last 4 years. You're talking of players that have been consistently good. Farrell's a great shout, mate. Farrell is an absolute like Walmsley. Very seldom lets you down. Very, very good.
Fast got to be in that. Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, it's a great shout. It's a great shout, mate. Phenomenal shout. Love it. Love that shout. I do. Really good. Yeah. Yeah. It's a tough one.
I'm trying to think of it to have played all 4
years
and done something.
Yeah, 4 years. And well, I think the players we've mentioned, the aforementioned there, right up there.
Johnny Lomax.
He's tapered, mate. The last 2 years he's tapered.
Still been a great player, Jake
Wardle.
Yeah, Wardle's a shout. That's a shout. That's a shout. Wardle's a shout, no doubt. Yeah, isn't it great that we've kept so many in extra time?
Das Clark's.
Das Clark's a shout, mate. Yeah, I've got nothing against Das Clark. You know,
Danny Walker.
Simo Gaz O'Brien. He's proper baiting Steph there, and he is proper baiting him all day.
Well, he has been in Super League for 4 years.
Craig Knowles,
Would you?
No, Craig Forth's gone.
Would you go Danny Walker?
No, I wouldn't.
Liam Marshall.
Liam Marshall's a shout. Craig Forth's gone Knowles. No, I disagree. Knowles this year. If Knowles had been the Knowles of this year, the last 4 years, he'd probably be the first pick. He's been that good this year. But no, I won't put Knowles in that. If I was picking a top 3 or 4 for the last 4 years, Morgan Knowles wouldn't be in it. I'm sorry, he wouldn't be. 4 players. You've got to remember, 4 players out of everybody that's played. No, I wouldn't have him there. Mike Gallagher's gone Percival. Again, Percy's a good player. Would I put him top 4? I wouldn't. Would anybody put Percy top 4 over the last 4 years? No.
Shit.
No.
It's a good by doing that. It's a really interesting question, isn't it? It's a really interesting. I mean, look,
you've got Bousquet. You got Julian Bousquet at Catalan. I mean, he's been steady, consistent over the last 4 years in a team.
I apologise to Dawn Baker. She's getting upset because by all accounts she asked the question. Dawn, can you repeat? Dawn, if you saw what I do on this side of the screen, you've got to forgive me, mate. Can you repost it at the bottom now, and we'll answer your question, mate? Repost it at the bottom. There's that much I'm doing this side, mate. I do apologise. I do. It's not that you're being overlooked.
Apparently, Chris Kendall is the man of steel.
I've seen that one as well.
What we've established tonight is that your sources, Steph, are not very good. You know,
mine aren't much better.
I mean, I'm not being funny, Steph. Unless it's tomato or brown, I'm not listening to you, mate.
It was very believable, to be fair.
Was it?
Well, he did well for Saints.
David, did this channel pick a team of the season? We did. David, I will tell you right now what our team of the year was. So sit back. For those who have been talking about bias and all the rest of it, here's our team of the year. So at fullback was Jai Field. On the wings were Liam Marshall and Lewis Martin. In the centres was Tessie New and Jack Broadbent. Halfbacks were Lewis and Connor, as you would expect. Prop forwards, Alex Walmsley and Herman Sa. Jez Litton was our hooker. In second row, we had Dean Hadley and James McDonald with Morgan Knowles as the loose forward. On the bench was Lockie Lamb, Lockie Miller, Mike McMeekin and Caius Fire-Tilly. So that answers you. So that's who our team of the year was. Somebody's gone Makinson in the chat and then they woke up. Tommy Makinson is not playing in the last 4 years. Sorry. Tommy's a great pro. Dan Parker's gone Jez Litton. On which planet? Jez Litton this year, sensational. Last year, showed his pedigree for this year. Last 4 years, top 4 player in Super League, Jez Litton. No. Top 4 player in Super League 2025. Yep.
Who's our club of the year?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a great question. Greg, club of the year?
Wakefield.
Yeah, it's a good shout.
Wakefield.
Good shout. Joel?
Can't disagree, can you? Yeah.
It's not
Wakey.
Huddersfield, Joel, is it?
No, Wakey, yeah,
That's
Wakey.
nasty, that, Dave.
Definitely
It's
not
hit him on
Huddersfield.
while he's down there, Dave. Jesus.
Definitely
Wow.
not Huddersfield.
Listen, for anybody who thinks I'm big
It's
enough,
not
I can
Warrington.
take it.
Do you know what? I'm loving it. Do you know
All
what?
right, mate.
As we sit here now and we're waiting for this announcement, nothing fills my heart with more joy than on Saturday we're together. Us four are together with the community. What a Saturday, boys, we're going to have. It's going to be absolutely marvellous.
All right, we're going to end up hugging.
Right, here we go. Dawn's in the chat. Dawn's in the chat. I say Wakey. I think Leeds are very, very close behind. Steph?
What's the question?
The one about
Your question, Steph.
team of the year or whatever it was.
Oh, my team of the year, Wakefield.
Yeah, fair enough. Right, here comes Dawn. She's in. Which positions are the most important signing-wise for Saints and the Dragons rebuild? What a
It's
great
official. It's
question.
official. It's official.
We're in. Here we go. Right, I'm going in. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2025 Man of Steel is Mikey Lewis. No, it's not. It's Jake Connor,
Yes.
as we would expect. So Jake has got the Man of Steel 2025. Dawn, we will answer that question before we go off air. But before we do that, it's only right and only appropriate that we go to Jake Connor. Jake Connor, 2025 Man of Steel. He was our player of the season as well. Greg, fitting?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. I'm absolutely delighted with that decision. Made up for Jake. Yeah, it's official now. I've just got that as well. Yeah, absolutely. Made up for Jake. I've had pelters all season. He's been allowed to play his own game. He's got a coach that understands him. What more can I say? I have been vilified. I have been, what more can I say?
Do you know what, Greg? I'm not being funny about it, right? But what we need to do is download all of your comments on Jake Connor this year, send it to him on a feed, and he can just play that before every game.
Yeah, but it's just the same comment over and over again.
The only team talk he needs, mate. Just play the game. Play your own game, Jake. Play your own game.
But it's true.
It is true. He's won the Man of Steel.
I know everybody's ticking off the bingo sheet now, but Paul Vaughan, etc. But he does have a coach that understands him and how he plays, and that's what he's needed. And fantastic. I'm absolutely made up for him. He's been a different player this year. It's a shame he didn't quite get to the grand final, but that's how it goes.
Do you know what? I'm not being funny, but the fact that we actually questioned is David. David hasn't questioned why we questioned, which is quite interesting. That's quite interesting, isn't it? So when you question, is David really David? You think that David would question why we're questioning it. But David isn't questioning why we're questioning it, which probably leads to the fact that, David, we know who you are. But anyway, that's by the by. David, we know who you are. You have to try better, mate. You have to try better. Much better than that.
Wow, my mind has just blown.
Yeah, well, it's all right. It's all right. It's not a problem. We will get back to Dawn's question. I'm going to go to Joel. Joel, Jake Connor. It's fair to say, when he came back to the Giants, weren't great. We spoke last year about on his days, he is. I mean, Jake Connor. People might scoff at this. On his days, world class. Jake Connor at his best. He's a world class player. He can dictate a game. He's that good. But those days don't come that often.
Yeah.
For Huddersfield, he unbalanced his side last year. There was clearly stuff behind the scenes. That said, as an ex-Claret and Gold, how delighted are you for Jake that he's got that award tonight, mate?
Yeah, very much so. Because look back at Jake's career, he's not been the most favoured in the internationals. You know, he's certainly not been part of the England squad, and a lot of people think that he should. You look at how he's performed this year, getting Man of Steel. Should he be playing for England? Of course he should. Or be in the squad? Of course he should. But for Jake to take all the pelters he's taken, and the injuries he's had, the clubs he's gone through, for him to now be in a massive club like Leeds and winning games and putting in performances at the age of over 30 is just very impressive. And I'm so pleased for him because, Jake Connor's always going to be Jake Connor. He's going to be that person that gets into people's faces. But you've not seen as much of it this year because he's just, in the rugby world, grown up a bit, and he's just thought, I'm going to try and steer this club to some victory. And clearly he's done that with some passion. And you can see that he's really enjoying his rugby because he's always smiling now. He never smiled at Huddersfield, but he's always smiling at Leeds. So it's good to see him playing good rugby, and I'm really chuffed with it.
Yeah, absolutely couldn't agree with you more. And if David isn't who I think he is, I do apologise, but he's gone. I do apologise, but I think we know who that is. Steph, Jake Connor, Man of Steel, happy?
Yeah, it's been outstanding, really outstanding. And as someone who questioned whether that was the right decision for Leeds to get him, I'm happy to hold my hands up. I think he's been outstanding this year, and there's no way better to prove your critics wrong than to put in the season that Jake's put in. He's been phenomenal for them. So I made up for him. I would still edge towards Jai as my Man of Steel, but that's just a personal opinion. I don't think anyone can question what Jake's done and the impact he's had. And I think the biggest thing has been Brad Arthur's coaching. It needed someone to really take him by the reins, say, we know you're talented, we know what you can do. And I think that's what Brad's got out of him this year. So I think Jake owes that as much to Brad as the other way around. So but no, massive achievement for him. He's always been right there with the most talented players in Super League for me, and we've got to see his ability this year, and it's great to see. But he's got to be nudging towards that England thing, hasn't he? And that's if you're winning Man of Steels, you've got to be playing internationals.
Well, I mean, he puts pressure on Sean Wayne. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. Different. I mean, CJ again. CJ, welcome to Super League Raw. It's been great having your comments tonight. It really has. Difference is Connor's good on his day, but he's Bevan's day every time he plays. You're right, but Bevan hasn't played all season. I mean, nobody on this panel argues that Bevan French is the number one player in Super League. He is. 100%. Absolutely. And if Bevan French plays 22, 23, 24, 25 rounds this season, probably Man of Steel. But he hasn't. And you've got to base it on 27 rounds of Super League. And based on 27 rounds of Super League, the difference Jake Connor has made to Leeds is why he's got the Man of Steel. We picked him as our player of the year. But let me tell you now, if Bevan French plays 27 rounds of Super League in 2026, he's probably going to be Man of Steel. He's that good. And all of us would agree with that, wouldn't we?
Easily. Yeah.
Easily. You know, there's nobody that can hold the count. But you can't keep giving. We're not like other podcasts because he's our favourite number 6 and we know how good he is. Regardless if he plays one game to 27, he's the Man of Steel. We're not that silly. This isn't Championship Manager. You know, we call it straight. Over 27 rounds, to which Bevan has not played enough games, but he's been exceptional in most of the games he's played. He's not Man of Steel. It's just not Man of Steel. Got to accept that. But if he plays 27 rounds next year, spoiler alert, he will be, because there's not a player that can hold a candle to him. He's that good. Says a Warrington fan, says a Leaf fan, says a Huddersfield fan, says another Warrington fan. Fact, he's that good. Anyway, back to Dawn. So we'll make this the last question tonight. Look, we've gone long. It's unbelievable this, right? But this show has almost been as long as the main show. It's frightening.
I'm ready for bed, so we can wrap up.
But we love it. We love it. This is what we do. We love rugby league, and it was right and it was appropriate that we waited and we waited.
This is like waiting for Tom Grant to make a video.
Yeah. It was right. It was right that we waited for the big announcement to come. So what we're going to do now is we're going to talk about Dawn's question. So Dawn's question, because I don't want to upset Dawn, she's one of our longest members. Which positions are the most important signing-wise for Saints and the Dragons? We'll start with Saints. Steph, what would you say?
For Saints, I would say halfback. So they need they need a 7 to replace Lomax. I think that's the key one. Defensive wise, I don't think Saints are far off. It's attack, and for me, I would say a strike centre and a winger.
You need a winger. You're going Dragons there, did you say?
Saints.
With Dagnall coming through? Did he need?
Yeah, Dagnall on one wing.
Yeah. Well, they're going to. It's going to be Felt again, isn't it?
Yeah, I know, but that wasn't the question.
No, it wasn't. So you drop Felt, mate?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, he scored some tries against some really average teams. If they want to be challenging for the grand final, I think they need a 7. They need Lachlan Lamb, someone like that, to get their assists up. They need a centre and they need a winger.
Joel, I have not been for a comfort break all night, so I'm going to now pass to you and make it a good one while I go back and see. So over to you. You don't get out on any other podcast either. Joel, Saints or Catalan, fill your boots. I'll be back in a minute.
Well, I can give you examples for both. So let's stick with Saints then. So with Saints, I think what they need to do is maybe not necessarily for next season, but they could do with looking at getting somebody to replace Alex Walmsley. And I know they've got some good forwards at Saints, but we're talking about really massive units that can do what Alex does. That when he does retire, that will be a big miss for them, regardless of who they've got coming in. I agree they could do with maybe getting some centres in, possibly, and they definitely do need a number 7. I agree with you on that one, Steph. Catalan though, it's a bit more of a tricky one as Catalan. So I think they need a new half pairing. I think they need a 6 and 7 to come in and be a new team, because they've had no organisation skills throughout the season. Make no apologies for saying that either. They were tipped by all of us to do really well this year. With the people that they had in, we were thinking, man, these guys are going to be, possibly in the top 4. And I picked them to be, I think, we're 4th. So they definitely need 2 halfbacks, a 6 and a 7. They're also going to need to beef up in the forwards. Pangai Jr. going to Warrington didn't, lost to receive this year. He didn't do that well. And they're going to need a big unit. You think back at Chris Satai, he was a really good forward for Catalan for a good few years, but he's dropped off the ball a little bit. That's down to age. Pangai Jr., he's moving on. So Catalan have got more worries than Saints have, that's for sure. Catalan, 6 and 7. They need a couple of props, and I also think they possibly need a winger, another winger to come through, because for them to be where they want to be in the league, they're going to have to really put the hands deep down in the pockets.
Absolutely. Apologies. It looks like it was David Gill. So it actually was official. David, we offer you our sincerest apologies. We genuinely thought it was somebody else, mate. You carry on talking, mate, in Facebook. My apologies. I had to throw that one in there, Joel. It would appear it's David Gill. My apologies to David.
That's a massive Fox page from us.
Faux pas. I'm sure Dave wrote all that against us. It did feel like somebody else, it has to be said. Greg, same question, mate.
Yeah, before the nurse comes in with my meds and puts me to bed, I think Dagnall or Whitby will come in for Saints. I think they need to look at replacing Morgan Knowles. For Catalan, I think, I'm with Joel here. I think You know, they brought Asparagus Bucket through this year, who's going to be a great player over the next few years. I think they need to address the pack. Just let them down this year. Let them down badly, despite the fact they've got some good players in that pack. They've had a lot of injuries. So, quickly from me, Dagnall, Whitby coming in for Saints, replace Morgan Knowles. Catalan, look at strengthening that pack and bring some of the youngsters through. More Asparagus, Bichets. Thank you very much.
Well, I mean, obviously, I don't know what everybody said, so apologies if this is regurgitation at 23:33 on a Tuesday after quite a lot of vino. You know, that's a great word. That's a good word, regurgitation. But look, I'll start with Saints.
Dave, I'm going to have to go to bed, mate.
We are, mate. This is it. We're done. We're going to do this for done, and then we're done. What I would say is this. Morgan Knowles is massive. Massive. I mean, you talk about dilution of Saints. I mean, before you start to sign, you've got to consider who you've lost. And they have just lost a colossal player at loose forward. So that's a massive problem. You've then got, as good as Alex Walmsley has been, and he's been as good as anything, at some point, Alex, Father Time will tell. So, yes, you've got Delaney. Yes, you've got Noah Stevens. I think they need Parzy's got a new contract, I'll never know. So I think they need a prop to just see him over the next 2 years so that the likes of Stevens and Delaney kick in. And I think and then the other, I mean, obviously halfback's halfback. We know that halfback is there. He's in. But you know, halfback is halfback. We know that. It's all right. It's just gone on Facebook now. It's not a problem. Halfback is halfback. We know that they've got to solve that problem. But for me as well, the big problem, I mean, it's really difficult with Saints. Really difficult. I do think they need a prop to just see him over the next 2 years. They clearly have an issue at halfback because, of course, Mbai's got, I mean, George Whitby's the future. We know that. But I think they've got an issue at halfback. Fullback's fine. It's just what they're going to do. Unlike Steph, Felt's capable. He's capable. They've got Lewis Murphy there. They've got Owen Dagnall coming through. They've got Dion Cross, who's capable as well. But I think what we've seen with Saints as well is that when Percival's down, Whitby's not the answer. Whitley, he's not the answer. They keep putting second rowers into centre. So for me, that shows an area of St. Helens that they need. That ain't good enough. You can't, you know, if you're going to be a top side, I mean, you look at Wigan, right? You look at what they've got in centre, and then if you put Zach Eckersley in there, he's more than capable of playing centre. More than capable. Whitley's a second rower through and through. Eckersley's a back, and he can play a multitude of positions, and that I think shows where. So I think Saints need to look at a centre. They clearly need a halfback to play alongside with George Whitby, and I do think they need a bruising front rower just to get him through maybe the next 12 to 24 months so that Stevens can come through and then they'll be in good shape, is what I would say with them. As far as the Catalan Dragons are concerned, I mean, dear me, there's that much that Catalan need to do. I mean, Catalan for me next year, I've got it all on to be 6. You know, a good season for Catalan is Wakefield this year. I can't believe I'm saying that. But a good season for Catalan next year is 6th. That would be incredible. If Joel Tompkins does that, he gets his contract for 2027.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it. There's so much. Don't you know, they've got some great young players. They've got the experience guys. Hopefully they put Ben Garcia back at loose forward. Hopefully, because that's where he should be. They've got the pack. They've got good front rowers. You know, and they have. They've got some exciting backs that are coming through. They're clearly going to make some signings in the back line. They've announced Lewis Dodd today, but for me, Catalan, 6th would be incredible. If they got 6 next year, from what they've served up this year, they'd be swimming the channel. They really, really would. So anyway, there you go. Happy days. Everybody's happy as Larry. We've done an extra hour and a half here. We won't be doing this every week, but it was fitting that we did it for the Man of Steel. On behalf of Greg, on behalf of Joel, on behalf of Steph, on behalf of myself, thanks for those who have stayed right the way through this evening. It's been an absolute privilege. What I'm going to do now is I forgot to do it. I can't believe I forgot to do it, but I forgot to do it. I'm just going to quickly upload Jake Connor from tonight. So that won't take long. Just going to wait for Jake's to kick in. Boys, it's been a great night.
Night, everyone.
Ready for
really
bed
enjoyed
now.
that.
Greg's not even doing the after party. Greg's already got his pillow in his hand.
The nurses are waiting for me out.
Right. On behalf of us all, thanks everybody for staying. Here is Jake Connor at the Man of Steel Awards, accepting his award. We will see you next Thursday at 8 p.m. for Super League Raw Weekly. Keep your eye out. Loads of content coming your way this week. Here's Jake Connor, the 2025 Man of Steel. Bye for now.
Yeah, pretty crazy. Crazy start to the year. I turned up at Leeds as a utility player, playing centre in the reserve team. So if you'd have asked me then if I'd have picked up this award, it'd have been a definitely no. Had to put my ego aside and get my head down and put the work in. And I just think I didn't want to leave out anything out there this season, and I feel like I did that. I went after it.
You've had one of the greatest the game has ever produced sing your praises, nominate you as a worthy recipient. How does it feel getting the award off the great Ellery Hanley?
Yeah, it's an honour. Obviously, joined the list of elite players, and it's not easily won. It's a tough award to win, and it's always something I've dreamt of winning as well, alongside obviously the other big trophies. But yeah, it's pretty special to receive.